I moved into Willow Glen for the peace. After a decade working downtown, I wanted a place where mornings smelled like coffee and cut grass, not smog and deadlines. My little blue house at the end of the cul-de-sac felt like a postcard come to life, quiet neighbors, chirping birds, the kind of place where you wave at joggers and borrow sugar from next door. At least, that's what I thought. Then I met Cynthia. Cynthia called herself the HOA chairwoman, but as far as I could tell, she was the HOA, clipboard in hand, wide-brimmed hat so stiff it could slice drywall, and a smile so forced it might crack her face. She showed up at my door the first morning after I moved in. I hadn't even unpacked my coffee maker. "Welcome," she said, not looking at me, but at my mailbox. "I'm sure you've read the guidelines." I hadn't. She handed me a glossy packet with Willow Glen Standards of Harmony printed in cursive. I skimmed. No pink flamingos, no artificial turf. Mailboxes must be black. Posts must be white. My current one, modern steel gray. Cynthia frowned like I'd parked a tank on my lawn. It started small. Notes on my door about my trash can being visible for longer than 45 minutes. A reminder that my front door was non-compliant because it was painted deep navy instead of approved warm neutrals. Then came the fine, a yellow slip taped to my garage window. Violation. Unauthorized mailbox. Handhartkeep your chapters due in 10 days. At first, I laughed it off, thought it was a joke. But the next day, I got another second notice. Lawn height exceeds limit. I measured it. It was 2¼ inches. She claimed the maximum was 2. Who decides that the lawn fairy? I tried to reason with her. Asked for a copy of the official bylaws. She told me everything was in the packet. But when I checked, half the rules she cited weren't even mentioned. Page 26. She said once. Page 26 was blank. I started documenting. Every notice, every random inspection, every time she stood at the edge of my yard scribbling like I was running a black market garden. My neighbors were no help, beaten down, resigned. It's just easier to comply. They whispered. One guy told me he repainted his shutters 3 times because she claimed the color changed depending on the light. Then I got a letter in my mailbox, not from the HOA, but from Cynthia. Typed in all caps, "Your non-compliance is affecting property values." I had a security camera by then. Caught her slipping it in my mailbox at 10:17 p. M. With gloves on. The next morning, she returned, pointing at my driveway. "I see you've got oil spots. That's against HOA regulations." I stared. "That's concrete. It's always been like that." "Well," she said, "it's unsightly." She whipped out her phone and took a picture. That was the last straw. I dug deeper. I looked up Willow Glen's registration with the state's HOA board. Nothing. No filings. No license. No board minutes. I emailed the county office and found something strange. No registered HOA entity existed at all. That's when I realized there was no HOA. Cynthia had no legal authority. She'd created the image of a governing body using a printed binder and a lot of fake citations. I called her bluff. When the next fine arrived, $300 for unauthorized yard signage, it was a welcome. "Friends Matt," I wrote back, certified mail. I demanded proof of her legal authority, bylaws with official registration, board contact info, and a meeting schedule. She didn't respond. So I sent the same letter to every house on the street, along with screenshots of the state registry showing no active HOA. People started talking. I created a small website, Is Willow Glen HOA Real, and posted everything: her fake notices, surveillance footage, legal documents proving no HOA existed. Within a week, it spread through the neighborhood Facebook group like wildfire. Comments poured in. Wait, I've been paying fines for 6 years. She made me tear down my swing set. Cynthia panicked. She sent out a mass email calling my site slanderous and a threat to community values. She claimed she was appointed by the founding developers. I checked. The developers had dissolved the HOA 5 years ago. Then the twist. Turns out, she wasn't just making up rules. She'd opened a bank account under the name Willow Glen Harmony Fund and had been collecting and cashing fines for over a decade. Tens of thousands of dollars. She even paid for her landscaping twice a month using the HOA fund. One of the neighbors, Dave, a retired CPA, helped me pull county financial records. Then I contacted a local news station. I didn't expect much, maybe a footnote, but they sent a reporter within 3 days. Fake HOA running scam in quiet suburb hit the 6 o'clock news. The moment of justice came fast. 2 police cruisers pulled up the next morning. Cynthia stood in her front yard with that same frozen smile as officers knocked on her door. She protested, claimed it was all a misunderstanding, that she protected the standards. They read her the charges: fraud, impersonation of authority, misuse of public documents. She went pale. The footage of her being escorted off the porch in handcuffs made its way online. By noon, the neighborhood was outside, watching, whispering. One guy brought popcorn. I can't describe the feeling standing there, coffee in hand, watching the person who tried to rule over everyone with clipboards and threats finally be held accountable. She looked at me once as they put her in the cruiser. I didn't say anything, just raised my mug and nodded. The aftermath: people started repainting their doors. Flamingos sprouted like weeds. A teenager down the street built a gnome army in his front yard. We had our first real block party in years. Laughter returned to Willow Glen. I still have the fake violation letters. I framed the first one and hung it in the hallway. A reminder: power isn't real if no one gives it to you. Cynthia ruled with fear, but fear only works until someone says, no. That someone was me.